yoga mats. What to choose, what size, what texture. Let's dive into that. It's been a video that I wanted to do for years and now I can do it. Okay, let's jump in. As a yoga instructor, I've got a kind of embarrassing obsessions with yoga mats. Sorry. Which means I have got a lot of different yoga mats that I have used and tried. So I hope my advice makes sense to you. First of all, when I have sessions, especially if it's on a camp or somewhere where people are not used to doing yoga, I tell people to bring their own mats because I don't have a lot of that many extra mats. And often people come with exercise mats like this, or even in Danish we call it a sleeping mat. Now these sleeping mats, and I don't know if it translates to any other languages than Danish, but they are really slippery, both with your hands and on the surface if you put down the mat. So I would strongly advise actually against using them. I would rather advise people to bring a towel, especially if we are outside. So don't use those sleeping mats. Now an exercise mat like this can be useful. Now this is a bit short if you are a longer person. Now the thing with these mats are, one, they're pretty thick. I think it's 1 centimeter or 1.5, 1 inch maybe. And this makes it a little bit harder to do balance postures on. So if people choose an exercise mat, I always advise them to step beside the mat when we do balance postures. Now another thing is that sometimes they kind of give in this direction. So if you're in downward facing dog, your mat kind of stretches out a little bit. And I've had one of these and it's not nice because you feel like, okay, now I've got downward facing dog, and you just feel like your hands and feet are just going further and further away from each other. So you feel a bit unstable. So I would not advise, if you do regular yoga, to have an exercise mat. Now that's one of them. And then you have the really thin mats, travel mats. This is a Maduka travel mat I've had for quite a number of years. And this is really thin. Now this is awesome if you want to bring your yoga mat on a vacation and you don't have a lot of space in your suitcase or whatever you bring along. It's actually pretty good. It's not slippery, at least not for my hands. It is really like slim. It's not thick at all, which is not good for knees. If you do something like standing in camel pose or low lunge or something like that. So it's great for just classes, short classes, and if you have something else to bring on your knees, awesome. Now again, on a regular basis, if you do yoga a couple of times a week, I would not have this as my standard yoga mat, but it's great for traveling if you just want to do, a quick session here and there. Of course, using my YouTube channel. All right, and this is Maduka. There's lots of different brands that you can get, and I don't have tried any other travel mats than these. Now often if I go to church and teach, I often buy the cheap yoga mats, and they work somewat fine and okay. This is one of them. I actually don't recall where I bought this one, just like a website. It is, I think, 4.5, 5 millimeters thick. This would be the thickness that I always advise. I did a yoga class with some teens where they bought 3 millimeters, really thin, thicker than the travel mat. And I think before the class was ended, a couple of them were already teared apart just because the quality and the thickness just didn't work together that well. Now, these, when you put your knees down on these cheap mats, it's okay. Some of them are pretty slippery. If your hands are wet, if you do a lot of sweating in your palms, they're not that good. But if this is better than nothing. So cheap mats, better than exercise mats, better than these if you want to have people join on a regular basis. So this would be my beginners to go mat, just one that you can buy for $10, 10 euros, 100 Danish kroners, or something like that. Cheap mats, whatever color and brand they come in. Now I want to share the worst mat I ever have. And I'm sorry to say, in my opinion, it's the cork mat. But look how pretty it is. Wow. You think about the nature and the trees. This is also why I bought it. I thought, this is awesome. And I like the color and the videos and all of that. But my palms are not that sweaty if I am not outside or something like that. Which means that this mat for me is like going ice skating. I can't hold any postures with my hands on this mat. I'm totally slipping out of this. I know people who have more sweaty palms that love it because they stand more firmly if you have wet hands. So that might work for some of you, but if you don't have those sweaty palms, I would not suggest a cork mat. In my opinion, I think this is also 4-5 millimeters thick. I think it's also a bit hard on the knees as well. It's not that soft to actually use. So, sorry, that's my opinion on the cork mat. Now, there are different kinds of Ude, if I say that right, mats, and this is one I got as well. I got it because it was white, because I do also record videos outside. I do retreats outside in the sun, and if you do stand on a black or really dark mat, it gets super hot and you almost get burned when you put your hands and feet down. So I wanted a white mat. So I brought this to Thailand and recorded a bunch of videos with this, which meant that it got a little bit wet from the sea, which means that I actually kind of like it, but whenever I'm on it, I get this white kind of fabric from the Ude, from this, I don't know what it is, kind of thing on me. So if I'm down on my belly and I rise up, I'm like covered in white stuff. So I don't know if it's just because it got salt water on it, but besides that, I actually kind of liked it, and it's pretty soft. Again, 5 millimeters. Got this kind of bumpy thing that makes it a little bit softer to stand on. So, and this brand, I think it's called Jade or something like that. And they've come in different colors, but I just bought it in white because I like to use. And I have another one that I use on my current yoga videos that's kind of the same, a little bit more slippery, but I like the fabric with the threads of this Ude kind of material. Now we're going into more of the mats that I really like. Now, I am a Maduka fan, and they do a lot of different mats, eco mats and stuff. I had an eco mat, and this is not one of them. I think I used it for 1 year where I was teaching, and I was teaching a lot, but 1 year and it was wasted. I mean, I couldn't use it anymore. So I think the eco mat, maybe that's 5-6 years ago, maybe they changed a little bit. But if you do yoga like 5, 6, 10 times a week, you want a mat that really are strong and can hold onto your feet, and also my heels a little bit like not that soft. So actually I think they take a big, they're hard on the mat. But this one, Maduka mat, is just one of the regular Pro, I think, come in different colors. Is really great. It's got a great grip, I think. I bought it in a light color, again, for my yoga videos. As you see, I've used it for 1.5 years, just a few hours a week. And you see the feet on the mat there. I try to clean it. It can't get off. To me, I don't care if it's like completely shiny, new. So I'm going to bring this to my retreat because it's light. But these are like, again, 5 millimeters. I still have my favorite to show you, but Maduka is an expensive brand. This is also this travel mat, Maduka brand. So you need to get your wallet out, but the quality is so much better than those really cheap mats. So I can recommend that. Now, my one favorite is the Maduka mat, but it's called X mat. Don't know why. It is in this kind of fabric, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. It almost looks like a kind of piece of cloth or linen or something like that. It is 5 millimeters thick. Now, what I love about this is two things. One, they do come different colors as well, but it's super soft. So when I get my knees down and my palms down, it just feels amazing. I still fold the mat for my knees if I'm down there more than just a few seconds, but it's so much better than this one or any other mat that I've tried that is 5 millimeters thick. The second thing is that it's got the same texture on the front and the back. And actually none, well, maybe the cheap one. Almost no other yoga mat has got that. They always have a surface and then they have a different thing on the bottom. But this means that I can just turn the mat. So if it gets worn out on one side, I can just turn it and use it on the other side. Ta-da! But the most important thing is that it's not slippery due to this kind of texture. I can't really explain what it is. But at least in my opinion, with my palms, I am standing pretty firm compared to other kinds of mat. This might be just as well. It's not as soft as this one. So this is the one that I love. And I have a green one that I've used for 1.5 years, if not 2 years. And you can only see slightly where my hands and my feet typically are placed in downward facing dog or mountain pose and stuff like that. So they are solid, it's good material, and I think it's also some kind of eco-friendly material, but they last. I have not used the mat as much as this one, and it still lasts. Hallelujah. So Maduka X mat would be my suggestion. Now it's a little bit expensive. What would it be, like 60-70 euros maybe at the moment, depending on the currency. It would be the same in dollars, I think, if you buy it on Amazon. So yeah, if you are a bigger size of body, Maduka also have wider mats and longer mats. I'm not sure if they have that in this X, but they have this in this more traditional, either eco or just the pro mat. So they do have different length, and I think some of the other brands has as well. But that was my take on yoga mats. I hope you find your preference, and please let me know what kind of yoga mat you like, because maybe I haven't explored the even higher quality of mat than this one. Thank you for listening along, and have a blessed day.